hello. Welcome to Music Nucleus here Thursdays from 3 to 4 p.m. every Thursday. Um, Today we got some good content for you guys. We're here, episode 9, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. And the theme for the day is the components to it, album success. We'll be talking about social media, how it affects a rollout, the tools that lead to a successful album, and that includes teasers, that includes tour teasers as well, album trailers, photography, and just everything that deals with rollouts and what creates a successful image for artists. Stay tuned in, guys. I got a lot of good content for you. We'll be talking about a lot of music, a lot of different genres in this case. But yeah, I'm gonna leave you guys with that, and I'll catch you in a little bit. Hello, hello, hello. Welcome back to Music Nucleus here, episode 9. Thursdays, 3 to 4 p.m. every Thursday, religiously. There might be a little bit of buffer time, just letting you guys know. As you know, the semester's ending, therefore we shall be closed for a little bit. Up until things start back up again. Um, but I will hopefully be seeing you guys come this summertime back to Music Nucleus. So it might be rebuilt or formed into something different, but regardless, it'll still be me. And I don't think anyone could take me away from talking about music because this is the only thing I can really be a nerd about and get away with. Because yeah, because yeah. Um. Anyways, speaking of, I wanna sit you guys down here and talk about the first theme, which is um music videos, right? I want to talk about what makes a good one, whether it be a story or a non-story. You know, there's this American football music video that I kind of like to rewatch sometimes. It's the most basic one, and I think it's just the music video for Neverman, and then it's like the house for that album cover, right? And it kind of takes place in this, and as time passes, and you know the um the relationship, I guess. It's still very faint, but it's like about a relationship that kind of, made its passing time and, you know, just ended. And you seen a lot of old Polaroids kind of panning through the inside of his house and like the room. That's just beautiful to me. And it's the most simple thing, really, but it means something. And then there's songs like music videos, really like anything Hype William has done where it is just over the top, it is eccentric, it's just so extraordinary and packed with so much set design, costume design. Hype Williams is one of the my favorite music video directors of like 90s into the early 2000s. Um, just put in his hand. I'm pretty sure he's collaborated a lot with Jay-Z. Collaborated with uh, Pharrell. Geez, I'm drawing blanks. Missy Elliott was quite a few. And if you look back at the music videos back in the day, they were so packed with like storylines and just like creativity, like Ice Cube. Uh, whew, Ice Cube having one of the most iconic music videos. Eminem. Look at Far Side, Ice Cube. So many rappers I could name, but the idea that like a lot of these old even Tupac. Sorry, I'm rambling, but a lot of these artists having such a creative direction and art it's influenced into the music video. Sometimes it doesn't and I say this in the most accepting way. I almost sometimes feel like what's the word for the opposite of being pretentious, where I try to involve everything into being super important, and it could be the most unserious thing, but to me it means something. But it's just when it comes to music, I view it all as an artistic thing. So I can't ever stray from it being anything but that. You know what I'm saying? And it could be a dude rapping at a gas station, and I'm like, this is meaningful. Which people will undersell that, but I just think that art created in the space of rap music is such an expressive outlet that people don't ever give enough credit. And I always hate the idea that people don't deem rap as sophisticated music. It really bugs me, because it really is. Even the stuff you deem as quote unquote sophisticated is pseudo unsophisticated or pseudo ironic. It's like even the stuff that you don't realize is meaningful because it's a character say it's like but I'm tired. It's an analysis of current day or a characterization of society or how it kind of views what sometimes like you see things and real spill is what people think is cool nowadays, and you will peer into the psychology of the hive mind of the grand mass when you look at some music videos that have that appeal to them. But aside from that, like photography is a very crucial part of it as well. Whether it be magazine shoots, album cover shoots, fashion shoots, um, runways that these artists may have appeared in. It's all like has to be done with intention and iconic, and like so many like people kind of build traction off that sometimes. And I love it. Like, what are the oh, so sorry. One of my favorite artists, Edward Skeletrace, really plays into that. Edward Skeletrace is a creative, most rounded creative I've seen in the current day industry. But he was a photographer before he even pursued like music and fashion. I mean, he was into fashion for years, way back. But there was a music video that actually recently released. Let me actually look it up. I have it here. Hold on one sec. It is called "Let's Have Some Fun" and it features Northwest, Kanye West, daughter. But it was actually really cool. Like it was so many like familiar faces and like micro celebrities and even like big celebrities and rappers all just like in a video, and like it's kind of a video of them, whatever they may be messing around doing shenanigans, looking into the camera, right? And then it cuts to a photo that Edward took of them. Would it be in that exact like setting or moment, right? And it was actually so impactful. Like I said, it's called "Let's Have Some Fun" by Edward Skeletrix. The song is okay, like it's a music video, but the like visuals is really what like meant something like even more to me. And sometimes music can do that. Music can sometimes bring the visual forward and put the music behind. It happens sometimes. But I don't know, like some do's and don'ts, right, for covers, and I say this in a subjective, mental, like opinionated mindset. This is like me just saying stuff, but I think that you guys should. I'm just not saying you guys. I'm just saying like as a general, like what I like to see. I like to see photography that isn't just like a face or heavily relying on a person or the subject. I like the covers that aren't even photography. I like drawn covers. I love Chief Keef's covers. The amount of editing and like Photoshop work that like must have took the actually no, he learned how to edit his own covers. Chief Keef like is one of the examples of one of the most Swiss Army knife rappers out. Learn how to produce, learn how to cover, make his own album covers, learn how to like how what else? He's just a overall like DIY type of person, and it's just cool. Like a lot of rappers should be like really involving themselves in creative directing, because it's like you are the one person who can visualize what your album would look like. You know what I'm saying? Like what this music looks like. Only you have that in your head. Maybe other people have an idea of it, but you have the truest form of that because it came from you, right? But a lot of artists have like record labels kind of running that type of stuff, the creative direct side. And I mean, creative direction is cool and all. Like, I think it's a good, I think it's a good thing, but hot take for it to be a profession enough for people to be like, it almost feels like a personality coordinator, a coordinator for what you should and shouldn't wear. It kind of bothers me because it's like, okay, at this point it is about greed and publicity. If you don't have your own sauce, how is an artist, and it's like, how could you end up like wearing stuff that isn't you? Unless like I want to say like this isn't always the case, but if it represents you, and if this is like, wow, like I didn't even know this is like what I really wanted to always wear. I just never tried it out. You know what I'm saying? And you find yourself through that, yeah. But if like Offset, bro, like the Migos, I want to say the Migos, not like as a whole, but I'm talking about Offset as a whole. Offset just started dripping down in like all black Balenciaga and sunglasses, and like this is around the time that Playboy Cardi was kind of building up to like drop. And I don't want to be like dorky about like Playboy Cardi because I don't, I'm not trying to fit in that like hive mind, but it's like he kind of started doing that, and because he noticed that like Cardi was getting the same type of publicity for wearing those type of outfits, and so I think he rode the train. I really don't think he liked wearing that type of stuff, you know. Um, but don'ts would probably be just don't put something that is artificial out. I don't like covers that like aren't what speak to you in some type of way. Because when I look at a cover and when I make my own covers, I'm like, I want people to look at this and know the name of this album without the name even being there. I want people to like um see this and be like, oh, iconic album cover. I love Kanye's covers, bro. Kanye has he's one of the most dominated when it comes to like album cover game. Like his old album covers are just so fire. And it's like, so you see how like creative people can get, like how creative people were back then. And then it's like, all right, we can really bring that to current day and not copy, but like we could come up with different ways to like articulate a shoe or like articulate a look that will be as iconic of an album cover as anything else. Like there's so many covers that do that, but there's some that lack, And like for example, like Osama Sun's album cover, bro. I need this guy Stun Mike to just get off that creative direct stuff because I don't know why he kind of like his form of like art is like ripping other artists off and just changing the design up. Like for example, he'll like take the Nike logo and like make it his own. But that's a cool idea if you make it tasteful. And if you don't, if that's like all you do, then it's like, all right, bro, like it's not good. I personally don't fancy that. It's not really for me. I personally don't like it, honestly. But um, those are some of the things, right? Just be truth, living your truth when it comes to like a cover. If you want it drawn, yo, by all means, and I think we should support a lot of artists. Most of my covers are done by friends, modeled by friends. I've shot it, or my friends have shot it. We all kind of support each other. I like to build. I've always wanted like my album covers to like be made by, like contributed to by friends that are also creators, because in that like same way, when I'm at a fancy place or when they're at a place, right? Like I made this cover for this artist, and they're like, oh, tell me about this artist, or vice versa. I'm like, oh yeah, my friend actually made this album cover. He's a photographer, or things like that. You kind of mark each other's work with yourselves, because like when you add shirts to another person's suit, and another person adds shirts to your suit, and you guys are out separately, people are gonna see them shirts and compliment them, and that'll start conversations and connections. I always do it because I want to see my peoples win, and so that's why I push for that. Um, Another thing, right, is the implementation of an artist song after launch of album. All right, how it gets placed, where it's put on radio, parties, um, films. It all depends how commercialized your music is as well when it comes to like the public eye, so like and radio and like um why am I blanking? Radio and films. Sorry. One of the rappers that does this a lot is Vince Staples. He makes music made to be scored in films, and he's mentioned that before because he's like, well, that's where the money is. You know, people don't realize that, but it's like, think about how many times you've watched a movie, right? Imagine every time like All Star by Smash Mouth was played, they got like $15. You know how many people watch Shrek and still to this day watch Shrek? Yo, they're probably still so many cash from royalties. That's the type of stuff like you need to strive for sometimes as an artist. I don't say like I don't want to be commercialized, but one day I might make a song that like I'm like I want this to be scored for a film, and like people might look at you crazy, but I mean it's so possible. It is so possible. But real quick, I want to send you guys off on a quick little break, and then come back and talk about music. I want to talk about social media presence for artists and music as a form of personality. And this is kind of part two. I already talked about this last time, but yeah, it just what like I guess what feeling do you get from listening to certain genres and how like people cope through certain genres? But yeah, I'm gonna let you guys go for a quick second and we'll be right back, alright? And yeah, see you back on Music Nucleus. All right. And we're back here with Music Nucleus episode 9. Thursdays 3 to 4 p.m. Possibly my last show. Um Actually next week will be the last show. So yeah, we'll get to that. But for the time being, I'm here now. I'm not gonna leave you now. I won't leave you too soon. Stay here. Um, but I wanted to talk about, right, is social media presence for music. Is it essential to be social media friendly? Should artists design albums around being accessible, right, for influencers? I want to say something, right? Shout out Ian. Shout out Ian. Um, is me and Ian were talking about this kind of earlier today. Is how people are like overly mysterious on social media. They try so hard to be like secretive. They got like one or two posts, and I think it started around like 2017, 2018, 2019. I feel like people just started like getting all like mysterious and all that jazz, and cool, 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 cool. All right, you too cool. Um, all right, I'm gonna cry next week, man. I'm gonna cry because the show gonna end, man. I'm gonna be so sad. Wow, it's hit me. Um, but jeez, man. Sorry, I'm just thinking about that. Um, so I don't know. Like, I feel like I hate social media, right? So like, I have a bias behavior to this because it's like, okay, I think everyone should take social media so lightheartedly. You need to like post whatever you want to post, act goofy on social media if you want, post whatever, right? And don't care about what other people think. Even as a creative, as an artist, you run that account. There's no like you shouldn't be policing your own account. If you want to listen to this, listen to it. That's all I got to say on that. But when it comes to like musicians, right? I think that you should turn like I like the idea of like artists making documentaries or series, right? Like documenting the process. Imagine if big artists did that, cause I'm seeing like these smaller artists really document the creative process and like tease music and like always be like kind of showing themselves, right? Because of like they kind of had to, because they're trying to train to like end up in the public eye. So I get that, right? At the same time, right? Like I just like I think it's cool to like be rare, sometimes like rarely show up. I think it does build a presence, but when you overdo it and it's like you're silent for 2 years, right, and then you come back with an album, I feel like you lost a lot of fans unless you have a cult fan base. But some people don't. So it's like you shouldn't just like disappear like that. I personally believe, right. But I was talking about how like some of the music videos and the videography that like artists do really like speak to people. Um, I remember this Flex Music trailer. Flex Music is a Osama Sun project that came out around. Shoot, I'm trying to remember. It came out around 20. It was like 2023, 2024 or something. And it was a teaser with Stan Smith, and I really miss Stan Smith and him collaborating because it was just awesome. But I was talking about how like he in the video, like he's like there's sticky notes and there's um pictures and text popping up, and it's the most vulnerable things, talking about anxiety and depression and how music without music life wouldn't be worth it. Things like that are so passionate, right? And this he's like rapping about things that like don't correlate, like about he's not rapping about his mental health, right? He's rapping about the getting money and these fancy cars and flexing, right? And it's like I don't know. I really like it's just like the way I see it is like it's just a genuine like cry for help sometimes, and not like in a like, oh shoot, he needs help. I mean, so it could be that, but like at the end of the day, like people want someone to relate to. That's why I like Spider Man. Goku, like these underdog characters have such a like cult fan base because people want someone to believe in. People want someone to relate to. They want someone who gives them a lifestyle that is realistic. Like Lucky is one of those rappers that like talks about it. He's like, yeah, I didn't talk. I wasn't talking about being rich. Or he said that at some point. He said, at some point I stopped rapping about being rich because I wasn't. And as soon as I started talking about things that I went through and that I was dealing with and things that were realistic to my reality, is when people started flocking in because in all honesty, people want somebody to believe in. They want an underdog to root for. They want someone to represent them, to show, hey, I have problems. I deal with things on an everyday basis. Whatever issues that me dealing with, like abuse and relationship issues and heartbreak and all these things, right? It's like that's why we love tunes so much, Sometimes like it's gonna be a tune summer this summer. All right, a lucky summer. It's realistic music. Um, but yeah, it's just like the way Osamason talks about his own like mental health and like issues. It like brings, I guess, like more attention to mental health as a whole because that's another thing that I admire about it because people just kind of put stuff down and it's not really cool. It wasn't cool back then to be vulnerable, and I think as we're entering this new phase of life and a lot of us are growing up, I think we're starting to realize like, hey, I genuinely think that like it's not wrong to struggle, and I hope that more musicians kind of show that in their music and in the content that they put out. Um, but as far as like I want to talk about like something real quick, um, and it's like what fulfills certain genres or certain listeners of certain genres. We touched on it when it came to the personality thing last week. How well actually this week, this Tuesday, because I ran two shows back to back. But we were talking about how like personality kind of aligns with certain people, like how they listen to certain music and it like aligns with their personality, right? And how like kind of baseless that was at times, and how like it kind of tracks, but in a way that you wouldn't expect. Um, but after this short break, I want to talk about what itches certain genres scratch, what like I could assume, and what I personally feel about these certain genres. But yeah, I'm gonna catch you guys on a quick break, and then we'll be right back with more music nucleus. All right. Alright, and we're back here with Music Nucleus Radio on Hawk Radio. Thursdays from 3 to 4 p.m. Now, I'm here to talk about certain genres and what itches they scratch in a way. Um, as someone who listens to different genres, I'll tell you what each genre scratches in my brain and what piece. I mean, music as a whole is just one big scratch to my itch of existence. But to specify, let's talk about certain artists or certain types of music. And I want to start off with punk. I don't even call it punk music because, well, I call it punk music, but punk is more of a mentality, I guess, or like rather than a genre. I don't ever categorize it like that. I just categorize it as in the most anti of anti, right? Music that goes so left field and against the grain that like it is punk. And I think so many things are punk. I don't think punk is like just screaming into a mic and playing loud guitar. Although like real stuff is just raging. It's just like the passion that people put into music is the most punk thing to me. Punk is existence of somebody who is weird and embraces their weirdness, and now that is punk to me. Punk is Laser Dim 700. Punk could be artists like, I don't know. I'm trying to think of current day artists. Current day artists like punk is people who don't believe in the traditional way of living. That's punk to me. That's what I deem as punk. Um, and I think what it scratches is the idea that imperfection is perfection. That's one thing. Like I'm a kind of divert for a little bit, and I'll explain myself right as I'm going. But for example, AI in art and music, AI is creating calculated algorithms to make chord progressions and singing voices that may sound like almost electronically perfect, right? Like the singing is on point. Like there's no need for a person in the equation, and I think that like really disgusts me. It really does strongly disgust me because I hate calculated music. I absolutely hate calculated music. Not all of it. Like I love some of it, but like even the music that you deem calculated is imperfect, in whatever way. I feel like Beethoven is not perfect. Like it was funny. Like in my head, I'm like, I've listened to these tracks, right? I'm like, I bet you he thinks he like perfected it, but somewhere he tickled a chord or like he tickled a key that wasn't it, but he just kept it pushing. In my head, like this is like my head candy about Beethoven. I think Brody messed up somewhere at least once in all of his songs. Even if he was a perfectionist, he probably didn't even catch the mistake he made, but he kept it pushing and he played it. Um, in that note, I love music that is imperfect. I hate Charlie Puth with a passion. I don't want to say hate. Hate is a strong word. I don't like Charlie Puth because his music is so soulless and calculated. It's like you just make stuff for like the radio. Like you don't even. I don't think you love music. I don't think you really like have the passion for music. I don't think it's for you. I think you are a robot in human skin, and nobody can convince me otherwise. Charlie Puth, I'm open to having a conversation with you, but I still strongly believe you're a robot or a reptilian. You're not real, bro. Who listens to Charlie Puth unironically and like thinks, wow, this music, because it follows music theory, is so amazing. Nah, bro, I don't believe that. Hip hop, scratches. Nah, that was me covering punk music. Hip hop now. Hip hop scratches the itch of melody, of genuine emotional expression through rhythmic sequences. Okay, I don't get the same type of drums I do in a rock song as I do in a hip hop song. There's certain like rhythms that you can't find in other genres. It scratches the itch for a flow, for a clean flow, for um the rhythmic, I guess, like production of things. And it's so cool how like current day music is like rap music has evolved to be so sonically like challenging and pleasing to ears, because it challenges your ears, but at the same time, once you get to the point where you can train yourself to understand what they're like portraying, it becomes pleasing. All right. um Country music. I think country music scratches the itch for adventure. And let me explain. For me personally, country music is super like, it depends where what you're looking at or what you're listening to, but country music is such a like how do you say it? Like a road trip. To me, country music is road trips. It's that. Um I love Miley Cyrus. I know like Miley doesn't just mainly do country, but like her folk music. I'm more of a folk. Is folk in the subgenre? Is it the umbrella of in the umbrella of country? I want to like know. I don't personally know that, but if you guys know, let me know. Send me a text if you know me. If not, let me know when you see me if you're tuned in. But yeah, that's, I guess it scratches the itch for adventure, in my personal opinion. Um, Now, what happens when an album combines musical genres, right? Does it bridge the gap or between music lovers or lead to confusion? I personally think if you do it right and tastefully, it can really bridge the gap. I think that some people, and I say this, and I'm kind of clocking people, and maybe I'm wrong, but some people who listen to rap albums that have rock songs in it listen to them same artists because they have the rock songs on it. It's almost like you're like hiding your true self. Like some people are like afraid of expressing that. I think that it's more normalized to listen to everything nowadays, but I feel like people do it though. Some people really do that. On that note, we're gonna finish up with this closing piece, given to me by Ian personally. Is sometimes it's the non-musical supports that determine if an album will succeed. There are thousands of amazing albums that go unnoticed because they lack these supports. Music is an art form that is compatible and collaborative. It's essential that an album continues to collaborate and connect with other forms of media and art to be heard by many. I personally love the idea of having two different demographics at the same concert. Not just two, I like a mix of different genres, but I mean polar opposites. I mean like artsy, artsy indie girls in the same venue as heavy rock listeners, heavy rap slash hip hop listeners. I want to see that. I want to look into the crowd and see everyone having a great time from the most extreme end of each spectrum of music lovers. I want us to all come together in one under one roof and vibe out. And that's the goal I have for my music. And I'm gonna leave you guys with that. Thank you so much for tuning in to Music Nucleus here Thursdays 3 to 4 p.m. Stay tuned into our show finale next week. More like season finale because I will hopefully be returning if everything goes well. But thank you guys so much, and I hope y'all have a wonderful Thursday afternoon. I'm hungry, so I'm gonna give me some food and hit the gym. But yeah, I'm gonna let you guys go on that, and you have a wonderful, great, 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 great rest of your day. I've been your host, Denis, at Revenge Ivy on Instagram. And yeah, love y'all. Have a good one.